You don't have to have these labels, and it's just so sad that we constantly have it drilled in our brains like, oh, we need to have these labels to feel like somebody. But hey, what's up everyone, it's the Tastemaker, and today I am doing a rant video, and this is something new for me, but it's something that has really been bothering me for like, I don't know, when I seen it, I felt like I needed to talk about it because I feel like it's something that a lot of us, you know, we hear or we even feel or we deal with. So basically, recently, I was watching Basketball Wives, and on this episode, basically, I'm going to give you a little recap of the episode. If you don't watch Basketball Wives, then you're not really going to know. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, Basketball Wives. They have a new season now, and we all know that Evelyn is on the new season, right? So basically, long story short, there's a girl that's on the show, and they went to a vineyard. When they went to the vineyard, the girl, I think her name is Christine or something like that. I don't know the girl name. Christine, I think it is. But basically, she went to the vineyard with all the other women, and she wasn't really dressed properly for the vineyard. She was wearing like some like biker shorts and some other stuff, whatever. So they were all tripping out on her and her style. And I guess it must have been like a couple occasions where she's come around, and maybe her style wasn't up to par or was up to their standards, and they feeling like, okay, well, we gotta hang out with her, so we don't want her with us if she don't know how to dress. So the woman opens up at some point telling them, you know, I dress, basically she's having body issues, you know, because she just had a baby, blah blah blah. So anyway, long story short, Evelyn and everybody else, they go out to Palm Springs, but instead of actually talking to the girl beforehand, she pretty much ambushed this woman, hired a stylist who came and brought a makeup artist or whatever, and kind of basically it was like everyone else already knew before they got to Palm Springs, but she was the only person that didn't know. So it was kind of like, well, the joke's all on me. Like, how is it that everybody else knows about this makeover? And then it's like, so not only are you saying like, you know, I don't dress nice or whatever, but it's like all of you guys are in on it, and it just, I'm pretty sure it made her feel like crap. I mean, I know it did because she was crying and everything. So basically, let me get to the gist of why I'm bringing this up. So when the stylist comes, she comes in, and you know, they finally convince the girl to go ahead and do the makeover. So they go into the little room or whatever where they're doing a makeover, and the stylist, she's supposed to be a professional stylist, and I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, she was telling the girl, she was like, oh, you know, sometimes, you know, we're not ugly, we're just broke, or saying something about her being broke. And that wasn't the first time that she had mentioned something about being broke to the woman. I forget the other thing that she said. Oh, this is the first thing she said. She said something about her budget, talking about, you know, I understand that sometimes, you know, we can't all afford, you know, these labels, but today I'm going to help you get style on a budget, blah, blah, blah. And she thinking to herself, first of all, the name of the show is called Basketball Wives. I'm sure this lady know that. So I wouldn't say that this woman is broke. I don't know if she's still with her husband or whatever the case is, but I mean, unless the dude is super old and he ain't played in the NBA for years, I don't know what the hell. But I highly doubt that this woman is broke. And she was saying, like, after a while, it became like, you know, like, what the fuck, like, why do you keep telling me that I'm broke? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is the fact that I hate when people feel like if you don't have this label, if you don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you're not fashionable. I don't care how much money that you have. You can have real dough, you feel me? And you still dress like crap. Like, fashion is, I mean, when it comes to fashion, it's like just because you buy a label or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're fashionable. It just means that you bought a label. And every designer item is not popping. I'm gonna just point blank period. So, and I feel like it also has a lot to do with social media today too. Because like, social media puts this thing out indirectly. You know what I'm saying? You have all these women that you might look up to, you think they're fashionable, whatever, and they got Gucci glasses, they got Gucci slippers, Givenchy slippers, Louis bags, and you seeing all this stuff, and then you start looking at yourself and start feeling a way about yourself, like, dang, like, how come I don't have this? Like, and you start feeling like you less than because you don't have this bag or you don't have these glasses. Now, what I would have done, you know, because I feel like when a woman, she wore that to that vineyard, one, it might have been her first time ever going to a vineyard. She probably had never had nobody tell her, like, okay, this is what you should wear to a vineyard. Sometimes you know, we need direction. And if you are going to give somebody some kind of advice about something, especially when it has to do with a look, we already got it bad as it is, where we feel like, okay, we got to have this kind of body shape, our hair needs to look like this. But I feel like in general, as women, we already have a lot of pressure on how to look, how to present ourselves. So as coming from another woman, I think that was real messed up for her to continuously do that. And then the cold part about it was when the other girls, you know, brought it, oh, and then she told the girl, she started yelling at the girl, cussing her out, telling her that she can't dress. And so the other women are looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, where did you find this lady at? Like, she is not professional at all. And then the cold part about it to me was she's supposed to be a stylist. And from my understanding, like a real stylist, especially if you're talking about, you know, these labels and, you know, even if you're a budgeting or whatever. When I looked in that room, she didn't have a rack of clothes. A rack. Typically, when I see anybody on a stylist job, they have racks and racks of clothes. They have a bunch of shoe options, like, and they have more than just 2 people as a team. If you call yourself being a stylist, even if it's just going to be you, like, really be professional and really have the whole setup. Like, she didn't even, like, that's the thing that was just so funny to me, but she's supposed to be a professional stylist. I think what happened was the woman, maybe Evelyn thought that she just dressed okay and felt like, okay, well, maybe I'll just ask this girl to, you know, style this woman or whatever. And I mean, I know that reality TV is fake. I know that a lot of it is, you know, it's just a convenience. Like, how is it that you guys are out to dinner and you just so happen to find a stylist right around the time that you guys were feeling some kind of way about how this woman was dressing? I don't know. I just feel like if they were going to do makeovers, I think they should have made it like a group thing. That way she wouldn't have felt so isolated and they all came out looking beautiful. I think that would have been a better approach to it rather than just, you know, singling her out and then making it seem like, okay, well, you're ugly and you're da-da-da-da-da. Well, she just told you, you know, she's not really feeling good about her body right now. You know, she got low self-esteem because she just had a miscarriage or whatever and she gained all this weight. And, you know, I feel like, you know, that was some real weak shit to do. And for me personally, I mean, I could tell you all day, every day, like, when it comes to fashion, like, I buy some of the cheapest shit. Like, I buy some of the cheapest shit and still look dope. Like you don't have to have these labels. And it's just so sad that we constantly have it drilled in our brains, like, oh, we need to have these labels to feel like somebody. But at the end of the day, you know, you have all these labels and all this stuff, you know, these designer clothes, and you have, you know, this, you live in this certain kind of lifestyle, not knowing, like, when you're sitting here trying to talk bad about somebody because you think they're less than because they don't have as much money as you, don't get it twisted. You ain't nothing but a blink of an eye from being up here to being down here where you thought, you know, this person was. Life will humble you. You know, the way social media is now, that's all it's about. It's about flexing. You know what I'm saying? I got this bag. I'm going here. Going on this trip. I'm going out of country. Look at my passport. Like, look at the food that I'm eating, da 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 da. So I feel like we all flexing and trying to live up to this lifestyle. And it's crazy because a lot of people who claim to live this lifestyle really ain't living that lifestyle. Bow Wow has to lie about being on a PJ. You feel me? Like, it's crazy. So the moral to the story is love yourself. Understand that I don't care how much money you have or you don't have. Always make sure that you remain to be humble, because life will humble you somewhere down the road. We all have struggles, and it's not ever okay to put somebody down because you feel like they don't have what you have. If anything, you know, you want to motivate them and do it in a positive way, but don't make it seem like if you don't have this, then you ain't shit. And, you know, I'm not saying that because you also wear labels that you're not fashionable. Ultimately, when it does come to fashion, it depends on the person. But I just feel like when you really have good taste in clothes, when you really are a stylish person, you can wear something that costs $5 and look amazing in it, and you can wear something that costs $5,000 and look amazing in it. Because ultimately, it's just about your own personal style more than it is about having a label or some, you know, or some kind of like designer name. But I just think it's just so unfortunate that a lot of us, we just feel less than. We have low self-esteem. We don't feel like, you know, we've accomplished anything anything because we don't have a foreign car or we don't have a designer bag, you know. And it's definitely something, like, if that's something that you really want, then go ahead and get it. But I'm gonna tell you one thing now, just from experience. I promise you, just like anything in life, when you buy it, it only feels good for a moment. We are constantly searching for happiness. You buy these things and you feel like, okay, I'm gonna be on, like, people don't give a fuck. Nobody cares. Like, okay, you have Moschino, you have an MCM purse, you drive a Benz, like, people look at you like, okay, cool, but then they keep going on about their business. They really don't give a damn. Like, nobody really cares. And it's just like, once you have it, you know, you have it for a little while, and then you just want the next thing. You just want the newest thing. And it's just crazy because, like, think about it. There's been times maybe when you wanted, you know, the new iPhone, for a perfect example. The new iPhone. You want the iPhone, you have the iPhone, you cool with it, you like it. Then a couple months later, the new one come out. Then you start feeling like you ain't shit because you ain't got the new iPhone. Everybody else got the new iPhone, you still got the old iPhone. And people looking at you like, oh, what, you got an iPhone 6, I got the iPhone 7. Oh, what, you got the iPhone 7, I got the iPhone 8. And it's just like a constant battle, you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses, you know, and then you never really find happiness that way. It's just, it's really sad. It's just so sad that that's just the world that we live in now, where we feel like we have to have these things. But after a while, the shit get played out. You don't care about it no more. The Gucci stuff that you do have, and that's the other thing about fashion too. You know, we have these labels and we're buying these labels, but it's only going to be in season for so long before nobody cares about it. Then people gonna be looking at you like, oh, she has last season's designer bag. Don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in it, because it's gonna be a constant cycle of you wasting money on bullshit that nobody really cares about. You know, there's this saying that, you know, basically about us impressing people who are trying to impress people. Like, the people that you are trying to impress, they're also trying to impress you. They feel like they don't. Some people be like, oh, I ain't worried about nobody, da da da. But really, yes, you are, because the moment somebody has something negative to say about you, you're gonna be on 10 toes ready to get out. I just feel like style is just something that you either have or you don't. It's like singing. It's a talent. You either know how to sing or you don't know how to sing. Like, there's no real in-betweener. So that's the same thing when it comes to style and being fashionable. You either have good taste or you don't have good taste, and you don't know how to dress. Like, it's just simple as that. So at the end of the day, you guys, make sure that you're doing things that genuinely make you happy. Don't try to find happiness within other people, in the approval of other people. Take it from me, you don't really get far from, you know, far doing that, because the moment that you put your power in somebody else's hands is a moment that they can take your power away from you. And you don't want to give your power away to nobody. Love yourself, know your worth, and wear whatever the fuck you want to wear. Hopefully you guys have learned something from this rant, and I'm not just ranting just to rant. All right, bye guys, see you later.